Hi, my name is Joe Miller, and I'm an award-winning professional tutor working here at the Profs. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 quick tips on mastering your application to LSE's undergraduate PPE programme. As somebody that completed my own bachelor's programme at LSE, this is a topic I know all too well. Before we get into the tips, it's important to note a few unique features about this programme that make it different to other programmes at LSE, like the Bachelor's in Economics and Politics. The first is, this is a 4-year undergraduate programme, akin to those that you often see in Scotland, although without the master's element. So you will complete 4 years, and at the end of these 4 years, you will receive a bachelor's degree. This is very different to the majority of LSE's degrees, which are all 3-year programmes. The second thing to note is that this programme is taught by the Department of Philosophy, Logic and Scientific Method. This is the name of LSE's philosophy department. It is not taught or run by LSE's Department for Government or Department for Economics. And that's a good indication of the type of academics who are going to be reviewing your application. Again, this is very different to the Politics and Economics undergraduate course at LSE. Without further ado, let's get straight into the tips. My first tip is maximise your predicted grades. As I've discussed in other videos, it is part of the LSE business model to have relatively low minimum entry requirements because this attracts as many students to apply as possible. However, to actually be made an offer by LSE, you often need much higher predicted grades. For this course, the requirements are A-star AA, at A-level or 39 points at IB. But do not be fooled. To get an offer, you are likely to need 2, 3 or 4 A-star predictions at A-level, and you definitely need more than 40 points in your IB predictions. My advice to all students is therefore, negotiate with your teachers at school, ask them what you can do over the summer to really maximise your predicted grades, and try and work with them to get as high a predicted grade as possible. It is simply not enough to settle for predictions that just meet those minimum requirements, especially if you come from a great school where lots of your peers are being given high predicted grades. My second tip on getting into this course is do not treat it like a backup. I see this mistake made almost every cycle, where students who are applying to Oxford's PPE programme pick LSE's PPE programme as a backup. You're right that these two programmes do go hand in hand. The personal statement that you write for both of them can be identical. They are the same subject. But this is an exceptionally competitive course, even by LSE's highest of standards. The most recent data published by LSE showed an enrolment rate of just above 3%. This is lower than Oxford's. And the acceptance rate for this programme at LSE hovers around the 10 to 14% mark. Given that this is a 4-year programme, which puts a lot of students off, these are exceptionally low success rates. And so it's not uncommon for students to be made offers by Oxford for PPE and rejected by LSE for PPE. So please, if you're one of those students applying to Oxford and thinking that LSE is going to be your backup choice for PPE, do not fall into this trap. Before I run you through my 3rd, 4th and 5th tips, I want to draw your attention to a really important change that's been announced by UCAS for this year. From this year on, so that's if you're applying to university starting in September 2026, you will not submit the traditional UCAS personal statement. Instead, you will submit 3 answers to questions like a personal statement. It's still 4,000 characters. The big difference this year is you get to choose how you allocate those characters between the 3 answers that you write. LSE specifically have given really detailed advice on their website, and we will put that in the link below, on how they want you to allocate these characters. For example, in question 3 on your extracurriculars, LSE only wants you to allocate up to 800 characters to this question. Please bear this in mind before you write up your personal statement answers and apply. My third tip for getting into LSE for the PPE programme is make sure that you allocate an even weight to philosophy, politics and economics in questions 1 and 2 of your UCAS application. It's very common for students to study economics at school, whether it be at A-level, IB or otherwise, and therefore to allocate too much weight to economics. Remember, the department at LSE that oversees the applications for this course is the philosophy department. It is simply not enough to write about economics and politics in great detail and then perhaps just mention one reading in philosophy. This isn't going to suffice. This is especially the case for LSE because LSE have programmes in philosophy and economics and politics and economics intended for those candidates that want to just talk about economics and politics. So I can't stress this enough. You have to show off your knowledge of philosophy. You can do this in different ways. You could enter the John Locke essay competition in the philosophy category. You could do readings or maybe a research assistantship in philosophy. You could even read LSE's philosophy blogs on their department website or attend a public lecture on the subject. But you must do something to show off your knowledge of philosophy in equal weight to economics and politics. My fourth tip, and if you've watched my other subject-specific videos, you've heard this before, is that in your application, you need to create a unique identity. The way you do this is you start by building a supercurricular portfolio of activities. These are activities that you've completed outside of school, without the support of your teachers, but that are subject-specific. To give you a few ideas, these are things like attending public lectures, reading. LSE issues a great preliminary reading list for this course, categorised by subject, politics, economics and philosophy. It could also be attending research group events on campus. It could be shadowing a PhD student or a professor, or just about anything else that's outside of school, but subject specific. Once you've done this, it's then very easy to create an identity around your subject. And if you can, you want to try and create an identity that ties philosophy, politics and economics together. This is often quite difficult, but it could look like the following. You found an interest in a certain area of economics, like an economic issue, perhaps declining fertility, an ageing population, lack of housing, could be anything. You've then reviewed some of the policy instruments that are being suggested or the ideas being put forward by politicians or think tanks or policy institutes on the topic. And then you yourself have read around the philosophical theories underpinning some of these ideas, and maybe you've entered an essay competition writing about exactly that. You need to try and piece together all three subjects around one niche identity. If you can make that identity personal to you, even better. And then my fifth and final tip is do not waste your third question on the UCAS application form for LSE. LSE are very specific here. They don't want you to write about extracurricular activities in question 3, even though the UCAS prompt is about extracurricular activities. LSE wants you to allocate 20% of the characters or less, so that's 800 characters or less to this question, and it's an opportunity for you to double down and reinforce your interest in the subject. So to be clear, you should be talking about politics, philosophy and economics, even in question 3 of your UCAS application. This is a mistake I'm seeing a lot of schools make this year, especially when you're applying to an overly academic institution like LSE. I hope you found these tips useful and enjoyed this video. There is of course a lot more that goes into an application than simply the content of this video. So if you need help with your applications, please do not hesitate to get in touch with the information on screen now. As always, if you've enjoyed the video, please do like and subscribe. If you leave a comment, we will do our very best to get back to you quickly. And as always, best of luck with your university applications.